Hello, welcome to the Flute 360 podcast, where we incorporate a panoramic view of flute-related topics. I am your host, Heidi K. Begay. Today, we are talking with Dr. Susan Fain, who not only has her doctorate in flute performance, but she holds the following titles: Physical Therapy, Doctorate of Physical Therapy, and Orthopedic Clinical Specialist. We will be talking with her about music-related injuries. Now, here's Dr. Susan Fain. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Heidi.
Thank you for joining us today on the Flute 360 podcast. It's so nice of you to share your time and talents with us.
It's lovely to be here. Looking forward to it.
Great. So today I'd like to talk to you about prevention of performance-related injuries through exercise or other means, since you are a physical therapist, a doctorate of physical therapy, and you have all these other titles. So you are the expert.
Thank you. I do my best.
So reading and researching about music-related injuries, that professional musicians go through, I read a statistic that it's 1 in 3 professional musicians are, at some point in their career, have issues with playing their instrument.
Right. I've even heard higher. I've heard it be as high as 80%.
Oh, wow.
Of musicians have had something that's caused them to have to stop for a while, or at least it's had some kind of a effect upon their career. And it's getting younger and younger because of competition. Mm-hmm. So injuries, and we're including in this discussion noise-induced hearing loss as well. So we're just seeing problems younger and younger, which is not the direction we want to go with this trend.
Yeah, I've noticed actually in the 10 years that I have been teaching professionally that back in 2009, 2010, I would rarely hear any of my students talk about being in pain. But now that I've been in Lubbock, I've had probably 5-6 students mention some problems in their hands or their neck. And it's really astonishing because these students are young. They're 15, right. 16 years old.
And that's not good. Not good at all.
Yeah. So what are the most common music-related issues that you see in regards to injury?
Well, what we tend to see, the most injuries occur in pianists and violinists, and the flute is right up there, like fourth. And I thought that when I did my research as part of my dissertation project back in 2007 and 8, and then I was expecting to find hand and wrist problems, but the neck was the overwhelming favorite, which is unfortunate. And with the flute, with us, it's, how we can hold our instrument and do a better job. But we play asymmetrically. If you think we're just sort of like the opposite of violinists, they have the same problem, but they're just facing a different direction. And guitar players are in an awkward position, and the pianists, anytime you have to sit all the time and bend forward like that, it's just not a natural position that the body can adjust to when you hold it for long periods of time.
Sure. And just like how we as flutists hold the flute, I mean, we're turning at a 45-degree angle.
Right. Well, and then there's this marching band thing.
Sure.
Yeah, where you have to hold it back, and it's an incredible strain on the entire spinal column when you are at attention with your flute, where it's in what we call the frontal plane, where it's in the plane that's parallel with your body. So if nothing more than really learning 2 different setups. You have your concert position and your marching band position. And that if young flutists can learn that there's a huge difference between the two. I never knew there was a difference between the two when I was growing up, but there should be, with the right end of your flute being very far forward when in that concert position, so that the only thing that you do to adjust for your flute is turn your head left about 1/8 of a turn. And that should be it. You shouldn't have to lift your arms up high. You don't have to have your flute parallel to the ground. It should droop, and that should do it. And if you get yourself set up like that, when you play, you need to turn your body away from the music stand to the right so that your flute is parallel to the stand, or it can be a little bit coming forward, but you want to make sure that your body's not parallel to the music stand. You want your body to be to the right. So, and I know you look at violinists, they've been doing this a long time, a lot more than we have. We need to take a few cues from them. But for any instrument, if you get yourself set up right, it can mitigate some of the problems. But I think a couple of the things that can really help before you even ever contemplate the idea of seeing some kind of a medical specialist for a problem is that you got to keep yourself in shape. You've got to have a strong core. You need to have a good exercise routine in place, and it needs to be something that's going to complement what you're doing. So as a flute player, you want to make sure, I love tennis. I love to play tennis, but you need to think about that's all one side. So let's try to make sure that your exercise, it can include tennis, but you need to do something that gets you going in the other direction.
Sure.
Yeah. And then so that if you're in shape and then you want to be the politically correct way of saying this is height, weight, proportionate. You don't want to be overweight. You don't want to tax your body and your heart more than you have to. So you want to stay trim. So be in shape, stay trim. And as a musician, especially an instrumentalist, you want your shoulders to be strong. I've seen so many weak players that their shoulder blades in the back are what we call winging, gapping. And so they're not even supporting their arms as they're playing. So you need to put a little bit of extra thought into strengthening your shoulders. Research is showing that strength training is turning out to be more important as we get older than aerobic exercise, which is sort of an amazing thing. A lot of people have thought the most important, if you're going to do anything, you need to do aerobic exercise. Well, they found out that's not true. Strengthening should come first.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it surprised me when I found out. But this is just the result of research in the last several years. So you want to be strong, you want to be trim, and then you want to, as you're setting yourself up to play, an optimal playing position, and then you want to create a way of practicing that mitigates some of the problems brought on by the way you play. So for us as flute players, as we play, chunking, first of all, thinking on a small, minute level, chunking while you're practicing is excellent. Where you play small chunks of music like the size of a quarter, like 4/16 notes, and then you take a break. You can practice anything. Say you got a really hard lick, just play ba-da-da-dum, 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 ba-da-da-da. And so in between each of those little blurps of notes, your fingers, they get a break. And yet you've practiced it at the performing tempo. So you've practiced it fast, but you've just added breaks. And then you can combine them by eighths, then combine them by 12s and then 16ths. And then you can play your whole lick. You've played it at the performance tempo the whole time. You've provided yourself with breaks in between so that your hand is not clamping down on your instrument the whole time.
Sure.
So that's one of those great ways to prevent carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
You give yourself time to extend instead of flexing all the time. So playing in chunks is a great way to practice, and then make your practice be in chunks. Like practice for 40 minutes, stop, do something, change the laundry, wash the dishes, do something different, come back again. Another way you can practice in 3 or 4 chunks during the day. Also, practice a couple lines of music and then stop, squeeze your shoulder blades together, or reach up your hands up to the sky, or do something that's the opposite of the position that you're in. Even if it's pretending like you're playing your flute on the left side, do something opposite of that forward, in front of you position that we find ourselves.
Sure.
Just a 30-second stretch and then go back to playing. So if you do all of those things, that's just, I hate to overuse the word mitigate, but it's mitigating and trying to create moments where you get out of that closed position.
Yes. And I even like to have a timer on my phone.
Yeah.
There
you go.
And I set it for 30 minutes. And once I hear that bell go off, then that tells me like to put the flute down, walk around, go outside, and like you said, doing the opposite direction of, because our hands and everything are coming, up and over.
And you are not allowed to use your phone
right.
or go to the laptop or your desktop, because that's not helping at all.
Yeah, and that's interesting you bring that up, because for a while when I would take my 10-minute break in between my 30-minute sessions, I noticed going right to the phone or going to the computer. And I noticed at some point, wow, I'm doing the exact same position, but just
that's no good.
on a different device, not the, not the instrument. So then one thing I like to do too is just kind of like broaden my chest and like have my arms go backwards, like kind of in this Y position.
Like you just landed a jump in gymnastics.
Yeah. And I like that. That's great.
Yes. Which you can't tell me that we all haven't done that at one time or another.
Right?
Exactly.
So just taking regular breaks throughout the practice session, correct? So that way we're not going to, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours without stopping, because then that that ups our chances of injury.
Right. And I think a lot of kids are so driven, which is fine. You can be driven to practice, but you've got to be smart. You really need to practice smart. And you can, if you practice smart by breaking it up like that, doing the stuff we just mentioned, also paying attention to your teacher and not just playing the wrong thing over and over again, really try to incorporate what they've taught you in playing and thinking. And I'll tell you, by having that timer on, it really helps you focus.
Sure.
I found, even if I'm doing something at my computer, there's an app called the Pomodoro. It's like a little Italian tomato.
Yes.
And you can even hear it clicking. It just helps you, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to pay attention to anything else. And but there's a time limit on it. So excellent.
Yeah, that's all really good. Yours talk about neck issues and hand problems. What can we as musicians, other than taking breaks, doing the opposite, direction of our instrument, what else can we physically do to prevent or hopefully prevent these injuries?
Right. When I'm thinking of the times in my playing career that I've had small things, what did I do? If you start feeling tingling and numbness on your fingertips, it can be caused from a lot of different things. There's several different levels your nerves in your arms can become pinched or entrapped. We call that nerve entrapment. It can not just happen in the carpal tunnel, but at a lot of different places. And the first thing, if you feel this, you should stop doing what you're doing and see if it comes back. Try to pay attention to find out exactly what position is causing it and what makes it go away. A lot of times, if what we do while we're practicing, we inadvertently are doing in life, like if you sleep with your hands underneath your chins kind of tucked under, it's the same thing as even making worse the carpal tunnel issues you've gotten from transcribing some interview on your computer, keying too much or practicing in a bad position too much. So pay attention to what causes it and what makes it go away. And numbness and tingling to me is pretty important to get that checked out if you can't change your hand position or do something to make it go away. I found for me, without going to any kind of a professional, I just went to the drugstore and got those braces for carpal tunnel. And I just, if it came on, and this was when I was working on my dissertation, if it came on, I would just wear a brace one night and it would go away.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't have to be something that you're doing during the day. It might just be the way you sleep with your hands.
Right.
Yeah. So you just want to try to let the area rest. Now, if a brace or something like that doesn't make it go away, that's something that a PT could parse out in her testing to figure out what is causing this entrapment. Like I have a friend who had entrapment at 3 different levels. She had carpal tunnel, cubital tunnel, and a pronator teres. 3 different places in her arms where the nerves had entrapment. She was a flute player and a quilter.
Wow.
Had to have surgery to have it all released. Now all is well, but it was not a small thing.
Oh, sure.
So you need to be careful about that. Now, talking about your neck issues, if you start to feel like your arms are heavy or hot or weak, you might suspect there might be something going on with your neck. Now, here's my main beef is a lot of times, okay, well, what do I do? Make an appointment with my PCP. So you try to make an appointment. They say, well, can you come in 3 weeks? And, it's awkward. A lot of states now are allowing you to have an initial evaluation by a physical therapist. If you go get a good one, someone that is kept up, either someone that's older that's kept up or someone that's relatively young, they can test and find out exactly what's going on, then you're gonna be in good shape.
No, that's great. So you mentioned earlier in the interview that research is showing that we need more strength building. So what exercises can we do to build that shoulder muscle or the back muscle between the shoulder blades?
Excellent question. The reason why we need this strength training is that when you exercise, the muscles pull against your bone. Okay. And when they pull against your bone, the bone lays down. It stimulates your bone to lay down more calcium, take more calcium, lay down more bone material, and it makes your bone stronger, which is really important for postmenopausal women. And a lot of people who play the flute are postmenopausal women, let's face it. But it's important for everybody. So the exercises that a lot of the muscles that are in between your shoulder blades and that surround your shoulder blade underneath and on top of, that's called your rotator cuff. Okay. All those muscles have tendons that go up and out over the top of your arm, and they attach to the top of your humerus. So to strengthen those muscles is rotation action of your arm. And that's those exercises that you and I have talked about, the Y's and the W's and the T's. Yes. So those combine strengthening some of the muscles that attach your shoulder blade to the spine, as well as all those rotator cuff muscles. So it works on both of them. But it's not, when you say arm exercises, we don't want you to think we're talking about biceps and triceps, because we're really kind of not. Okay. We're talking about the muscles that attach your shoulder blade to your arm and your shoulder blade to your spine. Oh, nice. So basically we're strengthening those shoulder blades, and that's where we really the support should be coming from for holding up our flute. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people, when I did a presentation at the NFA several years ago, and I had a line of people afterwards, and most of these people had complaints relating to their rotator cuff. Wow. And as we age, it's one of those things, if you have this forward posture, it makes the opening where the rotator cuff tendons come out smaller, and then you start to do things above your head, and then you start banging it around, and it ends up being a big problem. I see. So for the YTW exercise, does the person use, like, let's say an exercise bench or the end of a bed, like stomach down? What you could do is, you could just start with nothing. Okay. And then, because if you can't move in the range easily, then you have no business adding resistance to it. Sure. And then any resistance that you do above your head, you need to be extra careful, because that opening of the rotator cuff is smaller. You don't want to cause any problems. So the first thing, I would even just standing up, can you get your hands up in the air like you can make a Y? Okay. And then your body's the middle of the Y, and then your arms are the two, extending parts. Sure. Then you make a T where your arms go out straight, and the W, just bend your elbow, right? Okay. That's basically what we're talking about. Okay. Now, if you lean forward a little bit, you can do the same thing, and it provides a little bit of resistance. But you've got to have a good core. I don't want to have any back problems, by creating unnecessary strain if you can't support your back while you're doing it. Right. Yeah. So just to clarify, one of the benefits of this YTW exercise is there's no equipment needed. You're basically just doing it with your arms. Right. Okay. Right. Neat. And actually, I think that's a really important point. Just using your body and its weight is really all you need. You really don't have to have a lot of heavy equipment. Sure. And it's safer. The other thing that's easy to do is do push-ups. Okay. You can do push-ups starting against the wall. you know, because I can't do like a military push-up on the ground.
Right.
But you can start against the wall, then you can move to like the kitchen countertop.
Oh, nice.
Then the back of the couch, then the coffee table, and then on the floor with your knees.
Oh, great.
You know, there's this nice progression as you get stronger.
Oh, nice. And that's all strength building the shoulder blade area.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
Is there another exercise like the WTY that you would recommend for strength building?
Well, one that I really like, but it's kind of hard to explain, but I will.
Okay.
We call it UEER, but it's upper extremity external rotation. All it is you're sitting there, and you do have a band for this one. So you've got your arms down by your side, your elbows bent at 90 degrees with your hands in front of you, holding a band with a little bit sagging TheraBand, some kind of an elastic band. Keeping your upper arm still, you move your hands, rotate your hands out to the side. And then, so you're pulling that band, both of your hands are going out and kind of towards the back. And so you're just pulling that band. But what you're doing is you're working on those what we call external rotators. And that they are the smaller of the pair. You know, muscles always work in pairs.
Okay.
And the internal rotators are really strong because we do everything in the front. But these backward moving external rotators tend to be really weak. That's what a pitcher uses in his windup for baseball is external rotators, if you can imagine. But here we're keeping our arms down and to protect that opening of the rotator cuff at the top of the shoulder. So your upper arm is basically rotating in place outward. But we do that by moving our hand. Can you do that by my description?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it'd probably help our listeners to post maybe a picture or a video of this
yes,
exercise.
I think that's a good idea.
And we can definitely have that posted on the website.
Okay.
Yeah. Imagining these different exercises and such, to me, I just think there's some body awareness too, like being aware of like how you're holding your body.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? Just like not causing additional problems.
I know. Like I've gone to master classes and without even hearing the music, I go, man, if I can, you don't know what you look like. Get a mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, play in front of a mirror. And if it doesn't look like it's comfortable, it's probably not.
Right.
And yeah.
And probably just listening to your body too. Like if you're doing these exercises and you notice, oh, wait a second, something feels off. That's your body's way of saying stop. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, one of the ways I found that out was, Pat George, who's the editor of Flute Talk, she and I have spent a lot of time talking about these issues. And one of the things that we worked on in I want, hats off to her for the bulk of all this, but was the idea of shifting your weight back and forth while you play. If you look at a video of Emmanuel Paoud, for example, oh my gosh, he is fabulous at shifting his weight back and forth. So much so that when he goes on his back foot, he lifts the toe of his opposite foot. You can even see him do that. It's so freeing to shift your weight like that. And I noticed that I was having trouble when I stood on my left foot. And this is something I'm exploring, and I hope to in the future be providing some helpful information on. We may be symmetrical on the outside with our 2 arms, 2 legs, all that. But on the inside, we're not.
Oh, interesting.
Our heart is on the left, our liver's on the right. The accessory inspiratory muscles on the inside of your body, the pectoralis minor, the little muscles that go from slips of your ribs, they're lower on one side than the other. Your diaphragm is higher on one side than the other. The way we walk, I can look, now when I see people walking down the street, I can see the asymmetry in their walk. So some of these things, and it's just because, yes, in all the world's population, there are a few people whose heart is on the opposite side. It does happen, but it's extremely rare. So there's a lot of commonality in fighting this internal asymmetry. And when you shift your weight back and forth, it's a way of fighting that. We can breathe better when we're on our right leg than we can on our left leg.
Interesting.
One of the ways to combat that, besides just shifting your weight, is making sure that your pelvis is tucked under, that you've got not only great, it's not like you're holding your stomach in, but it's just that you're naturally standing very upright. And you've got your, what we call our TAs or transverse abdominis. They're engaged enough to place your pelvis in a way that you're going to, when you shift back and forth, you have good breathing apparatus and mechanisms going on at the same time. And a lot of this is very hard to perceive. And as I said, this is something I'm currently looking into and hope to get a better handle on as I do my research.
Oh, that's really interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. So in summation, the main points that I'm hearing are deal with pain, as soon as you notice it. So if you get that brace and, in a couple of days or a week, you're still dealing with that pain, you recommend going to seeing a specialist right away. So that way it doesn't snowball out of control.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And just being aware of your body awareness and movement in and out of the practice room too. So like how you're holding the cell phone.
Right.
Because if you're crouched down and like shoulders are rolling in, because it all goes hand in hand.
Right.
Yeah. And take frequent breaks throughout your practice sessions. Have that timer on. Walk away from the instrument. Get some fresh air. Great. So where can the listeners contact you if they have additional questions? Or do you have a website or email address that if somebody would like to dive in and reach out to you?
Sure. Would you like my email address?
Whatever you feel comfortable submitting.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Okay. SD Fain and the number 1 at charter.net.
Great. In addition to using you as a resource, is there any book or website or practitioner that you feel comfortable recommending that people can dive into this information a little bit more if they so choose?
Sure. I think that we all learn in different ways.
Sure.
Some people respond to more metaphors and ideals. Other people need things like don't move your head. They need it more analytical. I'll be honest, I'm more analytical.
Okay.
But other things like Alexander technique has been shown to be effective.
Sure.
If that can help you in paying more attention to what you're doing while you're playing instead of just with the music, paying attention with your body, not just the notes on the page. Because as important as they are, I think that Alexander technique is worthy. I think Pilates is a great exercise program that can also help you with your movement as well. I've done a little bit of that. That's been good. There's a lot of textbooks that I like. I would recommend The Biology of Musical Performance and Performance-Related Injury by Alan Watson. He's a research professor in England, and I used that book in great detail when I worked on my dissertation and found it extremely helpful. Another helpful book is Playing Less Hurt, an Injury Prevention Guide for Musicians by Janice Horvath.
Okay.
And her name, Horvath.
Perfect.
I've met her. She's lovely. She's a cellist in Minnesota. And I found her book very, very helpful and excellent. So I think those two would be great. The first one, the Watson book, is more like a functional anatomy textbook.
Okay.
Playing Less Hurt is more, I don't want to say anecdotal in a bad way, but it's just more, it reads more towards the musician, not so much a health practitioner.
I agree. I am familiar with that book, and it definitely is very approachable.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a better way to describe it.
Yeah. Great. Well, you've given us such wonderful tips and resources, and we greatly appreciate your time and expertise.
Oh, you're most welcome. It was delightful.
Just a quick disclaimer, these exercises are intended for educational purposes. Please consult a qualified practitioner before using any of the mentioned exercises in today's episode. Finally, if you feel any discomfort or pain while executing these exercises, please do not continue. Thank you for listening to the Flute 360 podcast. For more information, please visit HeidiKBegay.com. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please rate and review in the iTunes store. Let's let's talk about flute.